What made you lose respect for someone? I had a friend I hired at a beauty shop I used to manage. She stole my job right out from underneath me and told me I was fired on my wedding day. Fuck her. Dude I was friends with would constantly use the N-word even though he was Hispanic, and stupidly I brushed it off even though it really bothered me, but the day he used the F slur set me off. And his excuse was that a gay man called him that before? Fuck him. I was dumb for letting him slide in the first place. Their constant expectations. In my 6th grade English class, my friend turned his laptop/Chromebook towards me showing me a game we was playing. 5 minutes later I was playing a game as well. My friend was behind me and then yelled to the teacher in front of the whole class that I was on a game and then I was the bad guy. I didn't tell on home because that period was over in 3 minutes anyway and because I'm not a snitch. Edit, I wasn't on a game, I was on this knockoff Microsoft Paint made by Google. When they nearly dropped a weight on a friend's head. Almost 4 years working with my boss has made me lose a lot of respect for him, mostly because he's an unabashed liar. For instance, in a meeting with a large prospect he began outright lying about our product. When called out, he threw a fit and refused to admit he was telling a fib. Lost all respect for my best friend of 10 years. My dad died a few years ago. She never reached out to me. I had to reach out to her multiple times before she even acknowledged it. She stopped responding to texts and answering phone calls. I was extremely hurt, but I didn't make a big deal out of it, chalking it up to her being busy, etc. Fast forward a few years and I saw on social media that her grandmother had died. I reached out telling her how sorry I was for her loss and that I was there for her. She immediately responded with pictures and videos of her grandmother. We had a nice little catch-up, finally. Few days later she stops responding to texts and calls again. This goes on for over a year. I never pushed for answers until after the millionth time of her brushing me off. So I finally asked, have I done something? She told me I hurt her because I wasn't there for her grandmother. I was in absolute disbelief. I was done right there. I had a best friend I introduced to my brother. They got married. 20 years into their marriage she decided to have an affair with my husband and blow our whole family apart. It was the most fucked up thing to ever happen to me. Fuck her. MAGA hat. This dude I used to work with would double dip things at parties. Dip a carrot in the ranch, bite it, dip again. Not cool, you animal. They said Trump 2020. So there was this new kid in my primary school about 4 or so years ago, and she was pretty nice, but soon enough I found out she was a psycho. I actually thought she was a cool person until the following events. So we used to have a kettle and microwave, and she was cooking noodles in the microwave, but when she got it out she spilled it all over the floor. No big deal, right? Well, apparently it was for her, as she started crying and screaming swear words. This was year 5, so naturally, someone came up to help. Then out of rage and anger, she threw her fork at someone's eye. Luckily nobody was hurt, but she didn't come back for the rest of the year, and only for school camp, of which no more shenanigans happened. So this is the next year, and I along with my friends and the girl were in 6th grade. One day though, she walks up to us and starts talking to us, and reluctantly we start talking, although she literally busted in when we were speaking. The worst thing about it was she was spouting dumb and unbelievable lies such as I got married when I was 4 and that she was so sad when he moved away from her. My friend and I found it funny and kept on letting her go on, but you wouldn't believe the lies she came up with. The main factor that I lost respect for her was she was always speaking about how her little brother had nobody to play with, but then my friend and I are walking around and I see the poor kid crying. He comes up to us and says, "Can you tell my sister that she shouldn't leave me out?" And of course I came up to her and said, "Your little brother is crying and apparently it's because of you." She says, "Yeah, because he annoys me all the time." So I yell at her and say, "You're the one who always says that you feel so bad for your brother and then you make him cry." Then she starts screaming and cracking at me saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," and screams at the top of her fucking lungs. I didn't want to deal with her for any longer and said, I'm going, but next time you make your brother cry I'm going to go in front of the whole class and say look at this little lying fake little princess and tell them all about how you made him cry. She looked down, and her friends look at me as if I'm the fucking crazy person, as if I was the one who bloody screamed at the top of her lungs and started swearing. She ended up hating me for the whole year and I had to go to the principal's office. The lying bitch said I told her all that, and since the principal is shit I got suspended for a week. Luckily I ended up graduating. Voted for Trump. Twice. Old roommate installed carpet in our one and only bathroom in the apartment we lived in. He did a really great job with his installation. I was quite impressed. He even ran the carpet up the wall a little bit, around the whole bathroom. One of his bedroom walls was a straight shot to the front of the toilet. He drilled a hole through this wall and hid the hole within the carpet that ran up the wall. My girlfriend at the time also lived with us and we had people over for hangouts, quite a bit. I heard rustling sounds over by that wall one evening, while I was using the toilet. Took a closer look and found the hole. Kicked him out immediately. Friends, no more. Abso-fucking-lutely. Me. I'm a drunk and past adulterer. Not the life I planned and not the story I wanted to leave. Kick my own ass every day. Not me losing respect for someone but someone else for me. Me and my dad had a pretty decent debate about something having to do with his conservative beliefs versus mine, and he said something about having pride in my country and I looked him dead in the eye and said pride is the bane of human existence and something. I remember saying those exact words not much before or after. But in that moment I watched all respect for me as his kid drain from his face. We never had quite the same relationship after that one, haha. I'm glad I don't speak with him anymore. The tire iron incident really sealed the deal on the end of that social contract. Edit, I was a bit of a wedge teen so I liked to word things like that haha sometimes still do for fun. My now husband, when we first started dating, we walked into a sweet shop at the beach and there was this beautiful blonde-haired blue-eyed girl working the counter. As we stood there, my husband inched his way further from me and I got the feeling like he was embarrassed to be with me. At that moment I knew in my heart that I had lost respect for him. I probably should have never married him. I'm a plus-size woman by the way. There are so many horrible stories on here that people should never have to deal with. Humans, whom are supposed to be the smartest creatures on earth doing inhumane things, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I know it probably doesn't mean much, but I want to apologize for all the people going through these things, and wish the best of luck for the rest of your lives. I luckily enough, have never had to go through any of this trauma, so I can't offer much advice, but I hope you never have to experience this. I had a very good friend that I looked up to. I lost a lot of respect when they kept telling me about the people they slept with and that most of them were in a relationship. Breaking up a marriage took it too far. Back in high school during the final year, I decided to stay at the school's hostel so I can study better. After applying, the hostel clerk told me my application was rejected by the head warden. No, this weirded the fuck out of me because I was on pretty good terms with him last I checked. I tried to ask him several times whenever I met him, but I would either get ignored, or he won't even look at me. One day I got called to his office. He proceeded to give me a full lecture on being humble. So apparently, after getting straight A's on the previous national exam 2 years before, he said that I acted high and mighty. I did not greet him when I come across him, and I did not even said sorry when I bumped shoulders with him. Now, obviously this is a straight up lie. Because I'm the kind of person who would greet every teachers I come across. It's our school culture. He then added by saying other teachers have also been talking about me. Another fucking lie, because when I inquired what they talked about, he just responded with, well, they say some things about you, that's for sure. Like what the fuck does that even mean? Eventually he still signed my application, but at that time, I felt like shit. This is kinda embarrassing, but I went behind a school building and cried my eyes out. Pretty stupid, I know. It's the first time I was accused of shit I didn't do, and coming from someone who I respected very much in the past, it was heartbreaking. After I lose my respect towards him, I view him on different light. I think I finally know what's his problem. He likes attention. He always crack lame ass joke, sometimes dirty jokes in front of the students whenever he make a speech with hope that he would be considered a funny person. He's not. He's the kind of person who wants his students to respect and revere him but have the shittiest personality. The funny thing is, every time my father and I encountered him when we went out to town, he would try to avoid my father. We live in the same neighborhood. He probably know what he did was wrong, or maybe he's just a pussy-eyed k.